out there? It's me again. My name is Toso. I run communications here at Oasis Hospice Palliative Care. And this is Nadira Muhammad. She is our Psychosocial Director here at Oasis and House of Goshen. I just wanted to start off by really quickly asking you, what is psychosocial health? Because it's like that big word, and sometimes people don't really know fully what it entails.
That is a great question, and you're right. It is a big word, and that's because it encompasses large things. So psychosocial, I would like to refer to it as the holistic way of care, because in it, it's a variety. You know, it's almost like the rainbow. God blesses us, and He provides us with many things, and the psychosocial department does as well. We have chaplains, we have social workers, we have volunteers, we have a bereavement coordinator, we have a pet therapist, and also music therapy. So that pretty much encompasses or sums up our holistic way of looking at hospice, of course, including our clinical team as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, we like to look at it as we give all, you know, to the patients that we serve.
It's beautiful. Really well put, too. I think for people on the outside looking in, psychosocial maybe sounds like a scary word, but really it is, as you said, just the holistic side of care and just trying to treat the whole person.
Treating the whole person. That's what it's all about. You know, oftentimes when we have families who come to us, there's so many things that they need, because oftentimes it's very complex what they go through, what they experience, being told that they have like a limited time, you know, to be here on this earth. And you can only imagine when someone is given such a diagnosis or prognosis for that matter. The moment that happens, bereavement starts. But sometimes when we think about bereavement, we're looking at it like closer to death, you know, or after death, shall I say.
Yeah.
Here at Oasis, we believe bereavement starts the moment they've been told that they have a life-threatening condition. And so that's
you're walking that entire journey with them.
Absolutely. We're walking the entire journey with them. And we want them to know that they are not alone. Not at all. Not even for a little bit.
That's awesome to hear. And I heard you noted some of the people you have in your staff. I spoke with Miranda actually recently as your chaplain and bereavement coordinator. And then, you know, I met Reverend Carlene the other day and her beautiful little puppy and the pet therapist, and just the I don't know how to describe it, the breadth of services that you can provide. It's really something that maybe people don't really fully comprehend. And even just being a hospice, it's very interdisciplinary is a word that they use a lot.
Absolutely.
That we have such a big team. So maybe you could speak a little bit to that interdisciplinary side of things. How do you manage, you know, being in charge of chaplains, but also pet therapy?
Sure. What a loaded question. Only because it's loaded in a way, but not really. One of the blessings for me in serving in this capacity as the Director of Psychosocial Services is that I have been blessed to have experienced every aspect of those that I manage. So, you know, in my career, I have been all of those things. I have started off as a volunteer in hospice when my grandmother, many moons ago, she was diagnosed with cancer. And I had never heard of the word hospice. Right. And so that started me on my journey of volunteerism, because I was so impressed and so appreciative of the services that were provided to my grandmother. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I want to be able to help. I want to do this. And I remember going to the hospital that provided those services saying, hey, what can I do to help? This is after my grandmother passed away. Started off as a volunteer. It brought me a lot of joy being able to sit in the living room or go into the kitchen of the homes of the patients and just help out, whether it was reading the newspaper, doing crossword puzzles, allowing the caregiver to take a break and take a walk or go to the grocery store. I mean, I was really overjoyed. And so that was my start. And then from there, I started in bereavement shortly thereafter, because I was so in love with the volunteer aspect. And at that time, I was actually working on my social work degree. So I'm like, well, you know, how about try bereavement? And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I always say that hospice definitely is my first love, for sure. And it's something that I get the opportunity to serve a group of individuals or really families and also supervise those who are doing things that I once done, had the opportunity to do. So from the bereavement aspect to the volunteerism to even the chaplaincy part, I've been blessed in the ministry for many years. So that's, one of those things that people may not necessarily know, but I have that in my pocket or my tool belt as well.
That in your back pocket too? I did not know that.
Absolutely.
Okay, I knew I felt just a spiritual intensity and depth about you, but that's incredible to hear. I think one of the things I was just thinking about too, and you used the word impressed, and I like that word because it's almost like the etymology or the root of the word. It's like to press down on something, to leave something behind, right? And so in our capacity as people working with folks who are in such a vulnerable time of their life and being able to leave a positive reinforcer of what we can be as people, believing in the inherent dignity of each and every soul and being able to communicate that through our service is something that I've been growing to understand more as I've just been taking photos around the office and things like that. You begin to get a deeper appreciation for that. A few more questions and I'll let you go, but I did want to get a little bit of your background. You mentioned some of it. And so maybe, you've been all over. We've spoken about you being in Alaska and London, all over the place. So maybe you could tell the people a little bit about what that journey for you up to now being the director of Psychosocial has been.
Sure. Wow. God has truly blessed me. He really has. I started, my career in the field of social work almost over 30 years ago, right? And so at that time, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to serve people. And I remember going to the guidance counselor, and she's like, I said, well, I think maybe psychology. And she said, well, tell me a little bit more about what you want to do. And I started describing. She said, well, that sounds like social work. I'm like, whatever, sign me up. And I realized early on, especially after the passing of my grandmother, that she really was my inspiration. She was the first social worker that I knew. The way that she serviced people, the way that she loved people, the way that she truly loved the human spirit. And she made a connection with everybody that she came into contact with. So she was definitely my inspiration. And from there, I got my social work degree and took a couple of breaks in between. I must say that the reason I've been so blessed is because I want to believe that there's not really anything in that field that I haven't done. Like, from whether it's education aspect as being a consultant, working with children in schools, helping to turn hospitals around. So prior to coming to Oasis, I did travel social work. People didn't even know that was a thing. People were familiar with travel nursing, but I had the blessing to do travel social work, which is similar in traveling all over the country and getting an opportunity to visit places that I always just wanted to go to. And I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. And going into hospitals and helping them literally to turn things around. So oftentimes I was called in, as an administrator and going into chaos, not really sure, really what the full assignment was going to be, but taking a look at everything, saying, okay, I can do this, and being given a short period of time to do it. So I was used to just kind of running into, things and just saying, okay. And I loved it. I like the adrenaline. I like the idea of seeing the completion or the fulfillment of knowing that I could take the tools that I've had, in the area of healthcare, and and that's why I say it's definitely been a blessing. And so maybe over the last 5 years, it's like, well, I've been to medical school twice. A dropout. I say that proudly, not in a disrespectful way.
Interesting.
But,
so you've been to medical school.
That's
you got all of the lexicon and verbiage and all that stuff. But...
all of it, and I realized I'm not sure if I quite want to go in that direction. For 25 plus years, I've been a holistic health practitioner. I've actually been a midwife, still am. Have delivered children, and then finally I said, what? Let me finish up and get my healthcare administration degree. So I got a doctorate in healthcare administration because I wanted to be able to use my degree in a more administrative way to affect with policy change, building capacity, that kind of thing. So it's full circle for me.
Yeah.
Being here at Oasis is absolutely amazing because I get the opportunity to take all of my skills, or many of them, shall I say, and put them into, one focused goal. Yeah. And that's to help, our patients here.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, that's so many things you could take from there. And I want to go in a bunch of directions, but I know we have limited time. We are busy people here. Yeah. So I have one more question for you. Thank you so much for your time today and just for spending time with me.
Absolutely.
I would just say for the people who are maybe curious about hospice, curious about palliative care, but then they hear it, it almost feels like the dreaded H word and they're not quite sure how to approach it. What kind of advice would you give them, and maybe settling their spirit and grounding them in some truth versus some of the narratives that are out there about hospice?
Sure. Well, the one thing I would say is don't wait too late. Yeah. Oftentimes we find that because there's such a myth about what hospice really is, and people have a tendency to wait because they're on the fence.
Yeah.
And I always say, wow, I wish they would have gotten here just a little bit sooner, because the services that are offered, with hospice care, they're absolutely amazing. It allows the patient really to be in the driver's seat, to guide themselves on this process, to get the care that they actually need, and not necessarily focus on the things that really are not going to matter.
Yeah.
Spending the quality time with your family, having things freed up, not having to worry about, things that might stress you out, and especially having a care team and a committed care team who can help you navigate through every aspect of this journey. So the one thing I would say is to, not necessarily listen to the things on the outside, but get clarity. Get the clarification that's needed, because with the clarification and the clarity will come the peace, the peace of mind, not just for the patient, but also for the families that we serve.
Well, Dr. Muhammad, I should be calling you now.
Oh, no.
Thank you so much once again for your time today. And if you are still here, thank you for being with us. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, whatever platform this is published on. Help us grow so we can share the ministry and mission of Oasis to more people. But have a great rest of your day. Let's get back to work.
Okay. Yeah, sure.